How good are you at noticing? Chances are you might not be as good as you think. So, you're an experienced leader, you've got the skills, your intent is clear, and yet things aren't moving quite the way you're used to. Clarity feels harder to pin down, decisions are agreed, but don't quite translate into action. Progress feels less secure than it once did. So, what are you missing? In many cases, the answer is simple. The work has changed shape. It's easy to miss when you're in it. The context we're operating in, markets, teams, technology, expectations, they move more frequently than our familiar leadership habits were designed for. In this terrain, responsiveness is the real work. Leadership becomes less about having the answers and more about noticing what's emerging. This simple act of noticing also removes an unhelpful pressure, that voice inside you that says, if you're capable, you should know. In a moving context, certainty is a shrinking asset. What grows in value is the ability to notice what's shifting and adjusting how you respond. Leaders are encouraged to communicate clearly, show empathy, create alignment, drive decisions. These are all great behaviours to have, but sometimes what stops them landing? The truth is, these behaviours can have very different effects in different situations. In a complicated, predictable environment, clarity might mean providing structure and answers. In a complex, emerging situation, it might mean asking better questions and naming trade-offs. Empathy can build trust when people need to be heard, and it can blur boundaries when a system needs stabilising and direction. The behaviour hasn't become wrong, the moment has changed. Leadership isn't the performance of fixed strengths. It's less about the right behaviour and more about what's right for the moment. If something has been agreed but isn't happening, the issue isn't the decision or the intent. It's the mismatch between how we're responding and what the situation now requires. We keep applying familiar moves, expecting familiar effects, and the system simply doesn't move. So how do leaders stay responsive without adding pressure or slowing everything down? Yep, you guessed it, through noticing. Noticing isn't about long pauses or stepping away from the work. It's a brief, intentional shift of attention that helps you stay in contact with what's changing while you continue to lead. It involves being inwardly aware, noticing your pace, tone, stance, how you're currently responding, and also outwardly alert, noticing the signals, energy, and what's actually different in the situation. But what does this look like in reality? The good news is that you don't need new frameworks, more skills, or endless time. Here's a simple way to practice noticing for yourself or with the leadership team. 1. Voice it. When you think of a situation where effort is high but progress feels fragile, say this aloud. Something's shifted. This legitimizes the need to adjust. 2. Question why. Before you head into a new direction, ask, what is this situation asking for now? Not what should be happening, not what worked before, but what's needed now. If the situation needs something different, test a small change first. Tone, sequence, pace, audience, rather than a big reset. 3. Pause. In moving contexts, micro moves beat major pivots. You'll learn more, faster, and with less risk. 4. Hold judgment. If a behaviour you are expecting to help isn't, it's information, not a verdict. Treat it as data for your next move. The best part of this approach is that it draws on your experience. You don't discard your strengths, you refit them. You don't need certainty to lead, you need contact with what's changing. And you don't need to prove that you know. You just need to keep noticing and adjusting. When leaders adopt this mindset, 3 things tend to happen. Momentum returns, implementation improves, and teams feel safer. If leadership feels harder, it's not because you've lost your touch, it's the ground that's moving. In that reality, responsiveness is the work, and responsiveness doesn't require certainty. It asks for one human question, asked often enough to keep you in touch with a changing world. What is this situation asking for now? Not knowing is not a deficit. It's the space where noticing does its best work. If you didn't already know, Impact has a playbook that is jam-packed with leadership insights, exercises, and top tips. And good news, we've put a link to that in the description. Oh, and you should probably subscribe to our channel to see more videos on leadership just like this one.